Alright guys, today I'll be going over what I think Hersheypark will be getting for the 2026 season. There's been a lot of speculation about what they will be adding, and I think I've got a pretty good idea of what they'll be adding. Now, of course, everything I say could be subject to change pending further evidence, but given what I know right now, I think I have a pretty good idea of what we're getting in 2026. So to start off, I want to point out that when I look to the left on Candemonium's final break run, I saw a good amount of construction work going on. Not necessarily building stuff, but sort of just digging up the ground, getting all the groundwork set. So I am very confident, like 99% sure, whatever comes will be right behind Candemonium. This is definitely not too new of news. A lot of people have been saying, yeah, the next coaster is going to be behind Candemonium in Chocolate Town. Of course, the mystery we want to solve is what is this new ride? So there's a bunch of options. Obviously, they've got pretty much an infinite number, but there's definitely a few that we can narrow it down to. Now, I'm going to talk about these in increasing order of likelihood, and I'm going to start with the option that's not a roller coaster. I do think this project will be a roller coaster, whether it's 2026 or gets delayed all the way back to 2027. They've been extremely aggressive when it comes to new coasters. They got Wildcats Revenge in 2023. They got a reskin of Sidewinder with Jolly Rancher Remix in 2022. And of course, they got Candemonium in 2020 with the new front entrance area in Chocolate Town. And I think that really shows how Hersheypark is gonna expand in the future. They are being aggressive. They are making so much money. I mean, you go there on pretty much any day unless it's like a lightning storm, and you're gonna see that place slammed. They are becoming Cedar Point. They have tons of money to spend, and I don't think they're going to expand behind Candemonium just for a few flat rides or a dark ride. They're definitely going to get a coaster, but it's a question of what coaster they're going to get. And I've got a few options to present to you, and I'll say right now I'm very confident that Vekoma is going to be the manufacturer doing this next coaster. I know Hershey has a really good relationship with Vekoma, and recently they've been doing some really good stuff, especially overseas, but now they're finally coming into the US, and I think Hersheypark's going to take advantage of that. The first coaster from them I want to talk about is the launched flying coaster. I think this would look so cool in the front of the park. I think the GP would go absolutely nuts for this thing, and enthusiasts too. I mean, this could definitely be the third best ride in the park. I think Fly looks like the third best ride in the park if it were at Hersheypark, so I think this would be a home run for them. But I just don't think it'll be a flying coaster. I've got another option that I'm a lot more confident in, especially since there really hasn't been a Vekoma Flyer outside of Fly built yet. I know, of course, yeah, the Stingray, the Flying Dutchmans, whatever, those don't count. You know what I'm talking about. Now, you're going to notice a trend that all four of the coaster models that I'm talking about are launched coasters. I am so confident that this will be a launch coaster. I am more confident in this thing being a launch coaster than pretty much any of my predictions with no hard evidence that I've ever done. This thing needs to be a launch coaster. Hershey needs a launch coaster. They specifically need a multi-launch coaster. They have Stormrunner, and that's it. For a lineup as deep as Hershey's, that's crazy that they only have one launch in the entire park. They definitely need a multi-launch coaster, and that's exactly what Vekoma's going to give them. So the next one I'm talking about is the Shockwave. I think this would be really cool, having a thrilling multi-launch coaster, not necessarily being as intense as Stormrunner, but still definitely thrilling the GP. But again, I think they're going to go a bit of a tamer route here, but I still would like to see a thrilling multi-launch at Hersheypark. I know if you do something like Abyssus with good theming and everything, I'd even like to see a ride like Dragon in the Jungle here, but we're going to move on to the next most likely possibility, and that is a motorbike coaster. Like I said, I think they're going to be getting something family thrill, and this is pretty much as family thrill as it gets, you know? Now, there are others that make these, like Intamin and Zamperla, but I definitely think Vekoma does make really good ones. I don't think the technology is particularly complicated by the looks of it. I know it's definitely more complicated than like a normal sit-down coaster or whatever, but it's definitely not like a flyer. Now, if they do this, I don't know if it'll be as good as Tron per se. I don't know if they'll go that far with the theming, but I do think it'll be a solid layout if Vekoma does it. And of course, it's going to be a smooth, reliable ride. but I do think what they'll end up getting is a traditional Vekoma family multi-launch, such as Big Bear Mountain. I think they've ridden Big Bear Mountain, and they've been as impressed as I was with it. Of course, I can't say for sure that they went out and rode it, but I mean, it's pretty close. It's in the US. I'm sure they've ridden it if they're considering this, and it's a fantastic ride. I totally get why they want one to call their own. It's the best family coaster I've done, and probably the best family coaster in the world. But will they go with a traditional one like Big Bear Mountain, or one of these new super complex ones like Jungle Rush? I personally think they'll go for a more safe route with Big Bear Mountain. They might do something complex, but I don't think it'll be like Jungle Rush. That ride looks insane. I could see this ride sort of either starting out by where a lot of people said Flying Falcons was going to go a while ago, and then going under Candemonium and into the backside of it, or I could see them building a whole new pathway, sort of under Candemonium's final breaks, that leads you to a plaza for this new ride. I think it'd kind of be weird to do that, but I could definitely see it happening. I mean, there's certainly been weirder things. Now, what will the theming be like? I think they're gonna actually put in some effort into theming. I really do. I don't think it's gonna necessarily be as good as Big Bear's, but I hope they can at least make some sort of effort to make it close to Big Bear's. Obviously, I think this would be chocolate themed or some sort of candy theme. Honestly, my hope is that it's not necessarily a chocolate theme and they do some sort of huge candy land. This is going to sound random to any of you normal folk who quit playing Geometry Dash back in 2017, but the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear about this project is the level Sugar High. I really like this level, and I think the design of it fits what Hersheypark should do perfectly. I think kids would go absolutely nuts for a style like this with just all these sort of candies flying around in this colorful design. They could go with this general candy theme, or they could go with just all the chocolates or whatever, and I think that would still be cool as long as it has some good effects. Maybe you put a backward section in there. I don't think you need to pull out all the tricks like you did for Jungle Rush, but as long as you have something slightly more complex than Big Bear, I think this will truly be one of, if not the best family coaster in the world, especially if they theme it right. So that is what I think Hersheypark will be getting in 2026. Let me know what you guys thought of this video down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.